All right, well, hello everybody. This is Juan Curio with the American Boxing Organization, and today I'm with our current welterweight North American champion, Todd Manuel.
Yes,
Todd,
sir.
thank you for coming today.
Yes, sir.
So you're preparing for your fight in Mexico. It's
Yes,
my
sir.
understanding, correct?
Yes, sir. Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Yes, sir.
And who are you fighting?
Josito, so I can't pronounce his name.
Okay.
But he's a tough guy. I seen him fight before. He stopped two. That's the time that I fought out there, he stopped both guys that I seen him fight. So I'm prepared. I'm prepared to go out there and do what I have to do.
So in your last fight, it was not a title defense, but you were given an opportunity to fight for that WBC championship, and you came on the B side.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people thought you won that fight.
Yes, sir. I thought I won the fight too. But
In fact, I think you even knocked him down at one point
Yes,
towards
sir.
the end, right?
Yes, sir.
They didn't count that.
They didn't even count it. Earlier in the fight, I had dropped him also, and they never counted that neither.
So that's technically a 10-8 round right there.
Yes, sir. And then another round, I was on him, and he grabbed the rope and he took a knee in a corner, and the referee just backed me up, let him get up, and continued the fight.
So actually you won by like an entire round.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that's what most of the supervisors were saying, and that's okay. I mean, that's the way it goes sometimes, and this is the nature of this industry.
Yes, sir.
So you're going to be defending your North American Championship next Friday
Yes, sir.
under Alcaraz Jr. Promotions.
Promotions. Yes, sir.
Promotions, excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about your career, how you started, how everything just started to come up?
Yes, sir. Well, my career, I was a bad kid in school, and this teacher by the name of Miss Mesh, sent two guys to come find me by the name of Malcolm Sayers and the Kunsti Synagogue, and they came find me, and it was like, hey, you think you bad? And they had the gloves, and we ended up fighting that night in the gloves, and it was like, hey man, you good? It's like, hey man, do something with your skill. I need to see you to the gym Monday. So Monday came by, I went to the gym, and I got into the gym, and they had this man by the name of Mr. Charles, and there'll never be another man like this man, I promise you. Like his heart was gold. Like he gave from his heart. Everything he ever did, he did it from his heart. Like I never paid to box when I was little. The only thing he ever wanted me to do was stay out of trouble. That's all he ever did. So ended up going to the gym and fell in love with it. And then later on, I turned professional for this guy named Bad Chad Broussard. And I was only 17 years old. And I went to Las Vegas at the age of 18. And I was 4-0. And I fought Yuri Marshiki, number 2 dude in the world. He was from Tokyo. And we fought a 6-round fight. And I thought I came out the better side, but that's when I started to find out about the A side and the B side about boxing, about how things work. As I found this out when I was young. And man, I got into after that fight, it's like I just went back to my old ways. I just went back to the streets, went back to the bull crap, going to jail, in and out of jail, and I had a son. And when I had my son, he started to change my life, and that was it from there. Like I decided to no longer live for me. I decided to live for him, and I started to take boxing more serious because he loved it. Like he would see me fighting, I would take him out to the shows. Sometimes I would come out with him when I could in Louisiana, and he would love it. And man, it made me start to take boxing more serious. Like one day, hey, your kid's gonna be older, and he's gonna have to know, hey, whether your daddy was good and got his butt kicked his whole career, or whether your daddy took it serious and never gave up and did everything that it took to continue striving in the sport. And that's what I want my son to remember his daddy and know his daddy is like, hey, your daddy never gave up, man. Whether he won, lost, or draw, he was in there, and your daddy continued to push. And that's what motivated me to continue pushing in the sport of boxing. is one day I want my legacy to be remembered. I want to be remembered as that guy. Like, no matter what was the outcome, he continued fighting. No matter what was the opponent who was the opponent they put in front of him, he fought him, and that's me.
Yeah, and I think that when you had that unfavorable decision, because that was a very unfavorable decision, most guys would have just said, forget it, I'm done. But you called and you're like, hey, I'm defending my title, I want to continue, I want to keep moving forward, and I don't care who they put in front of me, I'm just going to go out and do it. And that's what you're doing right now.
Yes, sir. And that takes a strong mind. You have to have a strong mind in this boxing game because it has its ups and its downs, and things like that. Some fighters can't bounce back. Like, they'll just give up. They'll just throw the towel and hang their gloves up. They'll be like, I'm not doing it anymore. But that ain't who I am.
Exactly, and I think that is a very important aspect of this whole thing, and this is why we're having this conversation today. In our, I don't know if you've been following our podcast, but yeah, and I want to thank you for that. I always talk about life after boxing and having some form of monies set aside for your retirement. What are your thoughts about those conversations, especially with the interview that I had with Juan Velasquez Jr. 2 weeks ago?
Those interviews are actually helpful because I never knew some of the things about this organization until I started watching the videos and I started to learn more about the fighters, about the organization also. But life after boxing is something that it caught my attention instantly. Like, most people, they would be crazy not to get into this program. Like, you're basically investing into yourself. That's basically what you're doing in case anything happens. Like I said, I fight for my family. Like, in case anything happens, my family's, well, they're gonna be all right. They have something to look out for, something to fall back on. So those podcasts really helped out a lot. And a lot of the fighters, I got to know you guys and look you guys up. And look, man, continue grinding, continue doing what you're doing, and make our organization the number one. Like, keep moving to the top. Let them know that we're serious fighters and we don't back down from anyone.
And what are your thoughts about the way we do things here with the American Boxing Organization and our whole structure? What are your thoughts? Are you happy? Are you impressed with the way we've been doing things?
Yes, sir. Man, it's not to toot the horn, but when I first won the title and y'all called me, it was basically a dream that I had. It was like, hey, Todd Manuel, how you doing? This is I'm from the ABO, and I was like, whoa, what? Like, it was exciting. It was an exciting feeling, to finally get acknowledged for something and be noticed for something, and that was awesome. And then on top of that, you always call and check out, hey, champion, how you doing? How is things going? And just not with boxing, y'all. Hey, is everything okay with the family? Is everything okay with you? Like, those things means a lot to a person, especially when y'all don't have to do those things and y'all do those things. It makes me feel more closer to the ABO. And then on top of that, when I called you, I said, hey, I have a fight coming up. It's like, hey, don't worry, buddy. The ABO, we got you. And it set my patches, and that meant a lot to me.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's what we do for all our champions. It's very important to advocate for every fighter that we have, especially on this side of the continent. Us being the American title of the Americas, it's very significant. It's an equivalent to the European title. What do they call that one? The Commonwealth title.
Yeah.
It's similar, and I believe that we have a lot more to offer, especially with the benefits.
Yes, sir.
Right. The people that we have in our organization are all Hall of Famers, and they're all former world champions, and they all do very well for themselves. And when structuring this company and moving forward, we always look at, okay, the product, obviously the ABO,
yes, sir.
and then what can we offer? Because this is a very lonely journey. Am I right about
Yes,
that?
sir. It really is. You have to be prepared.
Sometimes you gotta pay for your own everything.
For your own room, your
Everything.
own travel,
Everything.
your clothes, your boxing equipment, everything.
Everything,
Yes,
everything. And it's without the help of sponsors, and people don't realize everything that goes into a fight. Just one.
One fight.
One fight. Everything that's involved in it is, there's just so much. And, you know, I believe that what we have is second to none. Because, you know, the guidance that we get from Leroy and Vince and all those guys that have, you know, that have been there, done that. That's how we're able to mold and structure this company the way it is.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts about planning? Like, do you have an exit plan, a plan for your out?
Yes, sir.
What is that? What does that look like for the champ?
I'm actually I started a construction company, and I work for a construction company. A guy named Mr. James. So I'm learning things from him, and I'm going to stay underneath him because he's a great guy. He's also one of my sponsors. That right there, and then later on, I want to open up a gym and give back to the community, like Coach Shaw did for me. And that's one of my exit plans in boxing. I want to continue growing my business, and after that, I'll maybe promote, because I have a lot of guys that train behind me and underneath me that ask me to find fights, get them connected with such promoters, and I do it off the love. Like, I just do it. Like, I don't want to get paid for it. Like, hey man, I'm looking out for you. You my guy. But I know the way that I can connect things. I think eventually I'll start promoting fighters eventually later on in life, and start branding it off and coaching. So
And that's really what this organization is all about. Grassroots. We are a grassroots organization, and we genuinely just want to help. You know, we just want to advocate for our fighters. We want to advocate for the industry. You know, when you see guys like Evander Holyfield doing an exhibition, but gets knocked down really fast, that to me was heartbreaking.
yeah, that was heartbreaking.
What are your thoughts about that?
My thoughts about that is it takes me back to Roy Jones. Roy Jones was my favorite fighter, and I think was one of the best fighters in his weight division, natural middleweight. That's where he should have stayed at. And moving up, he did good, but your natural middleweight, he should have stayed where he was there.
He broke all sorts of records.
Yeah, all sorts of records, but he should have stayed. I think he should have stayed in middleweight. He could have ran that for a couple of more years. He could have destroyed.
But with that, champ, is when you are the best in that division.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of like us with the ABO. We like a challenge. I don't like to be comfortable. I perform better when I'm uncomfortable.
Yes, sir.
I perform better when I'm under pressure. At some point, you always have to level up.
Yes, sir.
And for me, I take those challenges. And I believe that's why we have grown, because I refuse to take a back step to anybody.
Yes, sir.
And I'll never do that.
Like
my father never did it.
Mm-hmm.
My brothers never did it. I'm never going to do it.
Yes, sir.
So at the end of the day, and none of my board will ever take a back step. So, and I know you're like that too. So at the end of the day, I think that what you're doing and how you're doing it is all about the ABO.
Yes, sir.
Case in point, I didn't know you were in construction.
Yes, sir.
That's a trade.
Yes, sir.
Do you have benefits in your own business?
Yes, sir.
You do. You created your own benefits?
Yes, sir.
How hard was that?
Extremely hard. Extremely hard. So I could just imagine how hard it was for the ABL to come up with the benefits, and then you got to think this is a fighting organization. So most people won't even get behind that because it's fighting. Like, I already know. But,
There has to be something set in stone, and I think that organizations have fiduciary responsibility with their champions, with the industry. And I think that me as a CEO of a company, I have a responsibility. And I think I've done a pretty good job.
I think you did awesome, John.
I don't have millions of dollars.
Yes, sir.
I don't. But we make do with what we got.
Yes, sir.
And we make the best of it the best way we can. And we partner with those insurance carriers that can provide you guys safety, that safety net for your family, you know? And if things do go well and nothing happens, you get all that money back. So it really doesn't cost anything to do it.
It's like you paying yourself.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer.
It really is not. But to take you back to the question about with Evander, to see the older veterans get into the ring and fight it's entertaining, but it's hard hurting when you see them destroy their legacy like that, you know, behind the dollar bill. And some people don't understand that this sport is a rough sport.
One punch can end it.
Yeah, and this is a rough sport. And I'm a boxing whiz, I like to call it, because I study boxing day in and day out. And I know a lot of fighters who have went broke and had it all. They have had the world. The one that hurts me the most was Joe Louis. Joe Louis turned his life basically over to the Army and started exhibitions matches and started giving them all the money. And they took the checks, but the checks was made out to his name. So the IRS came back later on in life and came find him for it. And he was giving all the money up to charity. And he died broke trying to pay off the IRS for the rest of his life. Things like that as fighters, like we have to have, I'm glad like you say, we have to have an exit plan. You have to have life after boxing. Most fighters don't think life after boxing. Like you cannot fight forever. The oldest fighter that I know is Archie Moore.
The ones that I see the most benefit from the industry are the ones that are not taking the punches.
Yes, sir.
You know, like you have a lot of these big name announcers that will walk, you know, granted they're good at what they do, but they didn't take a punch and they're making all these millions.
Yes, sir.
A lot of these referees that make millions of dollars and have mansions and this and that and not take a punch. Then you look at guys like Riddick Bowe that just took all the punishment and lost because he was swindled, and look at him now.
Slurred talking.
Yeah, and that's heartbreaking.
Yes, it is.
I don't like to see that.
Yes, sir.
You know, I think that the role should be reversed a little bit, where, you know, I think majority of that money ought to go to the fighter, and there should be something structured in place for them. And I think that's what we've done.
Yes, sir.
We've done that. What can you tell some of our viewers, or what can you tell those champions about the ABO?
Man, the ABO is a great organization. Since I've been with this ABO, my name has grown. I've learned to conduct myself even better as a person that I was already working on. It just helped me conduct myself better because now you have the strap. You have the strap. Now you have to walk even straighter line. The ABO, they're going to check in on you. They're constantly checking and calling and holding conversations, and it's great the things that the ABO does, and they make someone, how can I say it, someone who the rest of the world thinks is here, they bring them to here and they bring them to the limelight. And any opportunity that they can help you out with, they will. Like fights. He said, hey, any fights that we can get for you. Any fights come up, hey, we got you, Todd. Like they're 100% behind you. And that's the best thing that I can say is, please try this organization out. Please get with my guy on the insurance, and I hope everyone had a beautiful and great time watching us in this interview.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important that our listeners understand that, you know, life after boxing is serious. You know, our chairman, Ernie Brown, he fought in the amateurs, and he was trained by Archie Moore.
Huh?
Yeah, he was trained by Archie Moore. This is who was represent. Like, this is Yeah, this is the people behind this company, right?
Yes, sir.
So Ernie has dementia,
Yes, sir.
but he really works hard. You can't really tell. You can kind of tell right now. And he's a warrior.
Yes, sir.
And this year we attribute the heavyweight North American division in his name because even though he has this disease, like what the team said, his legacy is to continue to fight and make things work. And he's not going to give up. So, it's very important that people understand that boxing, you may be okay today, but down the road, things can change.
Yes, sir.
I've seen them change. I've seen them change with a lot of fighters abroad. And one minute you can be very articulate, the next moment,
You're out of there.
you're out of there.
And what I think it is a lot of fighters, we are our own worst enemies because we are warriors. We don't know when to stop. Like we can get into the ring and be a punching bag. Someone can just be punching you all day. We won't stop. We'll keep going. I think that it comes down to more of the corners having to stop the fight. When you know your fighter is in a lot of damage, or he's taking a lot of damage, just quit the fight. Like quit the fight. I read some of the corners quit the fight, and then to see these fighters go down and get hurt the way that they get hurt, because they're not only physically hurt, they're mentally hurt too. And then it takes everything that they possibly can to build up inside to get right back into their ring, a place where they've been hurt. So I think that more fighters need to trust their corners, and more corners need to go ahead and
Understand more their fighters.
understand their fighters more. Like, hey, he's getting his butt beat out there. Like, if he's been getting beat 4 rounds and we have 6 more to go, I'm not going to let him continue getting pounded on. He go out. I might let him go out there again and try. The same thing happened. Hey, buddy. Hey, look, love you. It's not your night. It's not your night. Save him. And that's what a lot of coaches and corners go wrong with their fighters. Like, hey, you need to know when it's not his night. It's not his night. When he's getting hurt, he's getting hurt. Like, understand that. Like, don't send him out there just because he's a warrior. A warrior, you can, every time that bell go ding, I'm gonna get up and go. Get up and go. I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna get up and go. That's who I am. And a lot of coaches need to understand that. Hey, he's too hard-headed for his own good.
Yeah, and that's when you have to step in.
Yes, sir. That's when you have to step in, and that's what I want boxing to start looking more.
Yeah, and we practice safety all the time. I mean, look at safe distance.
Yeah, there we go.
We practice it. I have it because obviously we're doing our interview.
Yes, sir.
But at the end of the day, this company is very. It's all about safety. So now I'm going to quiz you, and let me see if you've been paying attention.
Let me see.
And then let's see